All right, there we go. Sorry, guys. I had the, you're right. I had the thing on mute. I was just saying, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy whatever. Hope you're all doing well. So welcome. Sorry about the sound. It should all be sorted out right now. Thought I'd go live before I pass out from food overload. It's been a while since I've done a live stream as well. If I don't do one today, it's probably not going to happen tomorrow just from the fatigue of all the food. So it should have sound now. I'm seeing it as sound, so fingers crossed. I'll wait and see if the chat catches up. Yep, all good. All right, thank you. Sorry about that. We got David from Michigan. Welcome, Paul. Welcome, mate. We got Dennis J. We got Druv as well. Awesome stuff. Yeah, sorry about the audio. I haven't used this open broadcaster software in a little while, and yeah, I've just moved some stuff back into this room, and yeah, anyway, it's all good. So I was trying to plow out the videos one a day all the way through to December, but I kind of crashed and burned. So I'm going to take a few days off from filming and just kind of unwind at the end of this year. It's yeah, I think going full steam ahead like that was kind of crazy. So anyway, I hope everyone's been enjoying the videos. I went old school, amps, guitars, and a couple of pedals in the mix there. So all right, welcome Craig. We got Jim. Merry Christmas from South Africa. Very cool. I always like trying to do South African accents, but I suck at it, so I'm not going to try. That's about as far as it's going to go. So welcome, folks. Hope everyone's doing well. I got a full what do you call it, like series of pedals that I'm going to do one video for coming up. Probably I'm going to try and do it before the end of the year if I can, but yeah, like I said, I felt a bit burnt out the last week or so. And I got this really cool power supply over here that's been sitting there for a while, so I should get that done. What's my favorite fuzz pedal? Funnily enough, one of my favorites is there's one from a company called it's called the Fuzz Moo. The Fuzz Moo is really good. There's a Russian company that makes some of the best fuzz pedals I've ever used. I can't remember their name, but if you like higher gain fuzz pedals, they're really good. I don't really use fuzz much at all, but if I'm gonna throw one on for fun, it would really only be just for messing around at home. I don't use them live, but I like the big muff style fuzz. I reckon they're kind of fun, even though they kind of get buried in the mix. All right, Dennis, thanks, man. Appreciate that. Must have your audio on Aussie mode. Yeah, I do, mate. We got Todd, welcome, mate. Stephen D. All right, folks, welcome. Hey, Metalhead Hippies here. Awesome stuff. Thanks, man. Thanks for dropping in. Yeah, so I hope everyone's having a good end of the year. I know this year sucked for everybody. Well, not for everybody. I mean, look, there's some good things that come out of every situation, I guess, but you know, it's been a frustrating year for a lot of folks, and it is what it is, you know. Look forward to next year, reset, try to make the best out of whatever situation we get thrown, I guess. Hey, thanks, Metalhead. You too, mate. I hope you're doing well. Steven says he just picked up a Studio Pro 112 after watching your video. Very cool, mate. I got it for 50. Is that euros or pounds? Sorry, I always get those. I think that's pounds, right? I got to learn those. I'm terrible with the UK pounds thing. Unbelievable amp at that price. Yeah, it's great. It's kind of like PV's answer to the Fender Deluxe Reverb, except completely valveless. Whereas the PV Bandit's a bit more like a Hot Rod Deluxe. That's how I always do that comparison. I sort of explain it that way. They're very cool. Yeah, thanks everyone for the support over November and December as well. You know, I went from having an epic plan for the end of the year that obviously didn't work out. So it's like, well, what do I do now? It's just like, all right, let's just make many videos as I can. So that was the idea. And they're kind of videos I think over time will kind of do okay as well because they're like based on something. They're not just a hot topic of the moment kind of thing. So that was the plan. I just thought I'll borrow all the cool stuff that I'm interested in. And that's what we ended up with. Lots of Gibson Epiphones, Gibson's, Fenders. What else was in the mix, man? Vox, all kinds of stuff. Let me just bring this up. Hey, Simon, thank you, mate. He says, "I watch your videos all the time." Very cool. So there's nothing else scheduled at the moment. I'm done. I couldn't quite get every day done this month. Yeah, it's funny because a lot of those videos you've been seeing, not all of them, but some of them were shot in November. That's how much stuff I did in November, and I think, yeah. Anyway, it was crazy. I sometimes wonder how I managed to get it all done. Norda says, "Hey Shane, have you ever tried Seymour Duncan JB bridge pickup in those neck position of your guitars?" You know, I've never owned Seymour Duncan pickups, not because I don't think they're good, just because I've never thought about getting one for any of the guitars that I own. So no, but you know they're a popular brand. They make a lot of good pickups depending on what it is you're after. So yeah, just trust your ears, man. I always say with pickups, it's a real rabbit hole. You sometimes don't get something better, you get something different. So you've got to listen to as many things as you can, as many videos and audio samples and the kind of style that you play, and then see if it's the right choice. You are taking a gamble on any time you change pickups. That's why when I got offered to do those MLA pickups, the Missing Link audio ones, I kept the old ones because I love the old pickups in that PRS, and I thought different is one thing, but better or worse is another thing as well. So sometimes different isn't always better, and I'm keeping those pickups in case I change my mind. But yeah, I really, really think you are taking a gamble anytime you change pickups, unless you've already heard them or if a friend of yours has got some or whatever. Paul says the fact that this year is ending is a good thing. Yeah, look, if we all survive the year, we're all doing all right. That's my outlook on it now. You know, I was kind of disheartened with, you know, being locked down for as many months as we were here in Melbourne. But yeah, now I'm looking at it like, well, if we survive the year, we're still on the right side of it, I reckon. So yeah. Robert says he bought himself a Gibson Les Paul Gold Top Standard, best guitar ever. Great stuff, man. That's very cool. Zach Thong, welcome, mate. What's the craziest experiment you've done with your gear, like running all the pedals into in series? So there's a video that's probably 10 years old where I stacked like 10 overdrives together. I should redo that, actually. That might be a bit of fun. I've never done anything to like intentionally damage my gear. The other weird thing that I've done is taking like a broken amplifier, gutting it, and turning it into a speaker cab. I don't know if that's weird or not, but that's about as far as I've gone with it. But yeah, that's about it. I don't go too crazy. Would you possibly look at doing more model digital comparisons in the future? You know, I was going to release a video that where the audio didn't work. Unfortunately, I was spewing like earlier, like when the stream started. I don't know how much more digital modeling stuff I'm going to be showcasing unless it's something that's right up my alley or I'm really interested in it. The problem is to do a video about something that has a million options, it takes ages to get to know the unit properly. I hate watching videos where the person showcasing something doesn't even know what they're doing. I make sure I spend time working something out properly before I post the video. And they always take ages, and it's not something I use. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll do too many. I might, if there's a new amp that's kind of cool that comes out, maybe. But I'm not overly interested in like those big multi-effects processor pedals anymore. I've done enough of those, and they don't change enough every year for me to go, wow, look at this. It just makes everyone who feels like they own the current one feel like theirs is now obsolete. So no, there won't be much more of that. But if there's a new Fender Mustang or something like that, maybe. But Yeah, I'm almost hoping that there isn't one coming up next year because the other one hasn't been out for very long. Or if there's a new Katana, something like that, maybe. That's a maybe too, but that's about it. Yeah, and I go out of my way to contact companies in general, but I don't go out of my way to contact a lot of digital modeling stuff. It's not that big. I feel like I've done enough of that now. But we'll see. Hey, John Jamal, welcome guys. Can you play Little Wing properly in just one video? No way. You can get the copyright strike, mate. It's happened to me before. Plus, playing songs note for note, what's the benefit of doing that anyway? Like, I can't listen to... I never really understood that mentality. Like, put your own spin on it. And the version that I learnt from isn't the one that everyone knows either. So I learnt from a different version from a different artist than Hendrix or Stevie Ray. So yeah, it depends on the versions you learn from and all that kind of stuff. But I hint at the songs a lot of the time, but I don't play them right because you get strikes. It's that simple. You'll literally just get a copyright strike as soon as you upload it. New Guitar Day, Gretch. Oh, sorry, the chat just went flying. Sorry, where is it? I'll get back to that. I'm not sure where it went. Michael says, what's your opinion on the 65 or 68 Fender twin reverbs? Are they too big? Yeah, they're way too big, man. I wouldn't buy a Fender twin again. I've owned one. They're too heavy. Just get a Tone Master. I played mine out the other night. It's great. It's light. It's loud. It sounds good. It works well with pedals. With most pedals, you'll have no problems with it. Oh, Dennis says Gretsch G5420T Electromatic hollow body. Very cool, man. Yeah, congrats. That's awesome. So anyway, has anyone pulled the trigger on any new Christmas goodies? Let us know in the chat here, and I'll mention it on the live stream. All right. Let me scroll down. I'm with my mum playing cards. My phone's on 12%. Charger is at home. Hey, no worries, man. Go enjoy your family. That's totally cool. I just got back about half an hour ago. I thought I'd do a quick live stream here. I've been sorry, hang on. Yeah, feeling a bit burnt out last week and this week, so I figured I'd just sort of get on when I'm feeling back to normal. So, do you have a holiday jam for my show later? You know what? I actually have a song I'm working on that I haven't gotten finished yet. It needs to get done. I'm going to try and get it done before the end of the year. But as of right now, no. But it's sort of half the way there, or 2/3 of the way there. Hey, Pork Chop, thanks, man. Says, Shane, I'm pretty sure this might be enough for a 1.25 litre Pepsi Max. Mate, I could get 3 or 4 with that, so thank you. Go to the supermarket. Thanks, mate. I appreciate it. Cheers. Thanks for all the support, guys. I do appreciate everyone who tunes in and watches the stuff that I put out there, so thank you. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going to go on New Year's this year. I kind of don't really feel like doing much, but there was a possibility of a jam, but I'm just going to play it by ear. I'm not holding out hope that something gets organized or whatever. Yeah, I actually, Dennis says, claim because your version of Little Wing was... Yeah, I actually uploaded a cover of it once and got claimed straight away. Like, so I just stay away from Jimi Hendrix LLC are brutal. So that was actually a strike. It wasn't a claim either back in the day. So I just wanted to stay away. That's why I don't do a lot of cover, like note for note cover stuff. It's just not worth it. Plus, I don't really want to paint somebody else's picture all the time either. It doesn't feel like a lot of fun. So yeah, thanks again, Pork Chop. Appreciate it, mate. Hope you're doing well. Mark says, oh, hang on, sorry. James says, a recent demo of me really liking the Vox Cambridge 50, but I also have a line on a 90s PV Silver Stripe. Okay, cool. Yeah, two very different sounding amps. You know, the Vox amps are very scooped. They've always got that sort of mid scoop in the middle there that you need when you play live, but you can always fill that back in with any number of pedals or whatever. But they, you know, it just depends on what you want. The PV will sound like a rounder amp. Mark says, my Christmas present was from Sky, 40% off a PRS SE standard. Very cool, mate. Very congrats. They're awesome guitars, mate. Haven't been able to play mine again out the other week. I was like, far out, this guitar's great. Bookshop says he already owns the VS Audio Royal Flush. Very cool, but I'm guessing for the gold version. Yeah, that gold version looks amazing. So, yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion that there might be one on its way. I could be mistaken, but they said I got a surprise for you. So we'll see what it looks like when it turns up. Man, that pedal is still my go-to, Jewel. It's such a great pedal. Not only is it good on its own, you can throw anything into it and it works. And not all pedals sound like that. Yeah, the gold one looks cool. I don't know what the deal is, if they're limited or not. I haven't looked into it exactly, but I've seen the pictures pop up. They look really cool. Julian says he got himself a Sir Classic Pro Strat. Very cool, mate. Wow. Awesome. Yeah, Sir make great guitars. Yeah, the JJ Cale Project. It got to the point where I finished the vocals, all the guitar parts, everything. Everything's done. I just haven't mixed it. It's such a big job. It's not a huge job, but I'm fussy. And I should have really realistically have done that while we had the lockdown. It was the perfect time, but it was one song I needed to finish, I'm pretty certain as well, but I never ended up kind of getting that done. Or it was only like 8 songs instead of 10. So, yeah, I need to mix it. That's pretty much all it comes down to, and I've been really slack getting that done. Plus, I moved some stuff around in the house too. Like, I used to do all my audio stuff in here, but I don't anymore because my computer that's still got that on there is my other one, which is in another room. So I kind of need to get organized and get that done. I kind of want to retire that computer, and that'll be the last thing that I do on it. Let me scroll down. Thoughts on players having too much disposable income, amassing too much gear at the end of the day, can't play. Yeah, man, like, it all comes down to the playing. At the end of the day, don't be too obsessed with the gear. It's cool to get inspired by new gear, but you should always be focused on, you know, learning to play better. The music should be more important than the gear. That's why when I travel, I'll buy a cheap guitar that plays well, and it's fine. Like, it doesn't matter. As long as you got a good amp to play through, which I think is more important if you're an electric guitar player. Yeah, that's it. Like, last time I traveled, I used well, it's not a bad guitar, but I bought a $350 Classic Vibe and plugged it into a PV Bandit, and I had one of my pedals, and it was great. So it really doesn't matter too much about the gear, but there's fun behind it as well. But you should never let the gear be more like, it's like same in any industry, right? You buy a camera, it's how you use it, more so how you light the room, what your content is with the camera, as opposed to buying it because it's the new one and not knowing what to do with it. So have I ever done a kit, guitar, or valve amp? I haven't done either, actually. I'm not interested in doing an amplifier, to be honest. It's a lot of fiddly work, and I'm not overly interested. I built some pedals from kits, but I've never done a guitar. That might be on the cards for next year. I'll see how we go. Ian says, happy Christmas to everyone. I just got a Chapman ML1 traditional, Triple S style. What do you think of Chapman guitars? Look, the only one I've seen in a Lefty was one from their first run of guitars, and it was really heavy, like it weighed a ton. But they seem like well-built guitars. They're just, yeah, it's just not something I see a lot of around here. It's kind of like, I think it all depends on what you think of, you know, not you just personally, but everybody. You got to like the stuff you find, right? It doesn't really matter too much what my opinion on a guitar is. Someone else loves it. That's all that matters. Same with anything else. Brian says, I watched your review on the SX Strats and decided to buy one. It's an alright guitar. Very cool, man. Yeah, for their price, they're awesome. You know, I think they're really, really good. Great live guitar as well. It's got a lot of sustain, holds onto the notes nicely. Another inexpensive guitar I did nothing to. I think I changed the strings. That was about it. What's my choice? Fender Mustang 2, Marshall Code, or Boss Katana 2? When you say Mustang 2, are you talking about the old ones? Like the version 3's Model 2? I probably stay away from those now, only because like the software's become obsolete, if that's important to you. The Marshall Codes I don't really like, to be honest. I haven't really played one where I've gone, oh wow, that's amazing. I'd rather buy one of those Marshall MGFX 30s. They're a really good amp. And if you're going to go Fender, you know, you've got the Mustang GT 50s, or you could even go for one of those XL 50s. That would be my choice. The Katanas are fine too. I mean, they're probably the most popular of the amps. That Mark Knopfler, Eric Clapton, JJ collab sounded great. Yeah, it's a great album. It's one of my favorites. Road to Escondido. Super cool. I've been playing at home. Homemade 5-watt tube amp with reverb pedal. Very cool. But on the other hand, no one needs anyone's permission to buy a guitar if they can afford it. Yeah, well, that's it, right? Like, you don't have to be a rock star to be into buying guitars or whatever your hobby is, man. I'm guilty of buying guitars when I'm not. I feel like my motivation's lacking or something. I'm like, maybe that'll help, or an amp. And usually it works. So so far so good. Hey, we got Brian M here as well. Welcome. He says, good question. I have 3 stacked ceramic P90s. Man, pick up recommendations aren't easy. There's a million variables, man. So, yeah, you just sort of got to do your own homework and find out what other folks are using to get the sort of sound you're looking for. Because if you play with high gain, it almost doesn't really matter. If you play a lot cleaner, you'll notice some of those differences. But yeah, I can't really answer that question, man. Sorry. We got Hi Cage. Merry Christmas. Thanks, you too, mate. Frankie says, Merry Christmas, Shane. I'll echo the others and say that your videos and hangouts with Rick have really helped me get through the year. Hey, thanks, mate. I appreciate that. And same for us, too. Like, it was keeping us sane. I was going crazy here. It sucked. So, yeah, it worked both ways, you know. So thank you. Any thoughts on the Source Audio Collider or Red Panda? I don't even know what that is, so no, sorry, mate. Simon says, here you go. Musician friend put a Fender Twin up against a Fender Tone Master and the sound identical with the EQ on the Tone Master. Well, there you go. That's pretty cool. I love my Fender Tone Master Twin. After owning a real one, like, the trade-off is so good. It's so worth it, in my opinion. But everyone likes different things. But I played it out the other night. I literally had a couple of guys say, whatever amp you're using tonight sounds way better than the night before. I was like, oh. So, yeah, it is what it is. You know, I dig it. And no one really wants to be moving a Fender Twin, legit one around anymore. They're so heavy. Craig says his gift was a Gibson SG Standard and a pedal from Shane. Oh, there you go. Thanks, man. That's awesome. Cool. I hope you like the SG. That's super cool. How do you get a bluesy tone setting on a guitar amp? Not a lot of gain and learn how to play blues. That's all it comes down to. Hey, Dylan, thank you, man. Merry Christmas, Shane. Got myself an Epiphone Firebird. Very cool for Christmas. From Sky Music, such a killer guitar. Have a Pepsi Max on me. Thanks, mate. That's awesome. Thank you. Thanks for all the support this year too, man. I appreciate it. You're a legend. Got to get you up playing live this coming year. That's the goal. Get you out of the house. Get you playing and jamming out. So thank you. Yeah, I'll be able to, with that and the other super chat, I'll be able to buy a new box of Pepsi Max. Get a 24-pack. Be laughing. What did I think of Lewis's road trip jam? I watched a video. I think I only saw part of that, actually. I might have caught it when it premiered, possibly, and I only caught the end and didn't sort of rewatch it all. But yeah, I can't really comment on it. I can't remember. I think I remember seeing him play some piano in there, but I don't remember the tune, so I'll have to go back and have a look. I'm a bit out of the loop with a lot of the uploads. I think in December, kind of from the creative standpoint, there's a lot of big content going up. It's hard to make it and then sit there and watch a lot of it too. Brian says the holy grail for the home play is finding the right amp that won't get you evicted. Yeah, I own the Vox VT X20, but have been thinking about the Blackstar HDR1. Yeah, 1 watt's about all you really need. You know, I haven't played that particular amp. I've played the 5-watt one, and that was kind of cool. Yeah, another one that I always really liked was the Bugera V5 Infinium. Said it a million times. It has that switch on the back. You can get 1 watt, 5 watts, or 0.1 watts. It's really good. So thanks again, Dylan. Cheers, man. Hey, Quentin James is here. Welcome, mate. We got Couch Potato. I like that name. That's cool. Merry Christmas from Brisbane. You too, mate. Thank you. There we go. He says, yep, the plan is to be heading to the jam nights in the new year. Yeah, you'll wonder why you left it as long as you have, mate. Once you get playing live, you'll go, oh, that's what it's all about. You know, you want to be able to, you know, it's like getting singing lessons and then never singing out live. It doesn't make any sense. You gotta do it, you know, so yeah, get out there, mate. Come to the jam. We got Dan Jack from Vancouver. Very cool. Welcome, mate. Sean from Detroit. Yeah, Craig says the Bugera is awesome. Yeah, it is really good. It's a great little home practice amp. You know, another one that's really good, and not because I got one on the floor, but these are awesome. These guys, the Mua or Moore, however you say it, modeling amp. These Hornets or 15 watt combo, but they sound great. They're not a valve tube amp or anything, but for home practice, that's all you need. These things sound great. I was going to do a video stacking them. Like, I got a couple of these little things. I was going to stack them up and make a video like that, so we'll see how we go. I really enjoyed the band sessions you've shared lately. Hey, thanks, man. That's literally just the jam night. So, yeah, that's get up and what are we playing? All right, let's try that. It's not organized in any more fashion than that. We've jammed so much that we can kind of just go, oh, yeah, we played that a couple of weeks ago. Let's try that again. So it's all for us just about, for me anyway, like this is why I don't understand people's aspirations, and everyone's different, but just to play someone else's song the same way, it's like you're not going to develop your own style. And with the jams, it encourages you to play something, you know, and come up with something and throw things together that you've learnt to make something a bit more unique out of it. I always liked that about the jams. Thank you, by the way. What's my favorite pickups for a Strat? Generally speaking, the Fender Custom Shop ones are always pretty great. I like Texas Specials to some extent as well. I think the ones that whatever they've got in my original series ones, I think they're called like 50s. Yeah, I don't even know what they are, to be honest. I'm not even really sure, but just anything that doesn't have the ice pick. You know, you can EQ a lot of different tones out of a guitar just by using the amplifier, but the ones I like least are the Fat 50s. I've owned a set of them. They were the worst pickups I ever owned. So just about all the other sets of pickups I've had, even including the Fender Made in Mexico Strat pickups, they're all great. So it's hard to really find a dud set of Strat pickups if you're buying from Fender branded ones. I've tried other brands like the Allen and lots over the years, and I've always gone back to Fender pickups. I just think they sound great. I really do. Again, you're going to be doing a rabbit hole of trying to work out what it is you don't... Find out what you don't like about the pickups and then try to find the exact opposite. Hey, Jonathan Coe, welcome, mate. I hope you're doing well. Got a great channel, by the way, mate. I lurk when you're live a lot of the time. It's usually late here, so I have it on and I'm just sort of chilling out. Very cool. Hey, DMS, welcome, mate. We got Matt. Merry Christmas, Shane. Can't stay. Just wanted to say hi. Thank you, mate. You too. I never play something the same way twice. The mistakes I always do. yeah, me too, mate. No, I think it's important to develop. You know, you're going to, of course, learn by referencing licks you've picked up and all that. But once you get your own style, it's so distinct. I really like that. There's guys who are great cover band artists, but they don't really have their own musical style. And then there's great blues players who can't play anything else. So there's a middle ground there. That it's great to learn. I think it's great to learn songs for the sake of learning songs, but just really trying to nail note for note stuff all the time from one player in particular is not a healthy way of learning. Christopher, thanks, mate. I appreciate that. All the best to you too. Mark says, got a wet dryer using a Bugera Joyo Sweet Baby. Oh, very cool. Trying to work out the dry, thinking solid state in the middle might be... Yeah, I haven't done a lot of that stuff, to be honest. Mark, I haven't joined a lot of amps, but, I've probably done 3 gigs where I tried the stereo, not even true stereo, just I had 2 amps on stage, and I was always getting weird ground loop issues, so it wasn't something that I did a lot of. The only time I didn't get that was when I used a DI box and had the ground lift on. But it was a pain in the ass. It was just more stuff to carry, so... Yeah. Weather Boy, welcome. From Nepal, welcome. Awesome. Damn, I gotta pick up the missus. How you fat? Welcome, mate. Sorry if I didn't say hi before. Yeah, it's good to try to... I think with blues, it's all about the vibe and the playing something that's yours, or at least putting all the stuff you've learnt together to make something yourself out of it. I've always liked that. I don't know what it was about that whole thing that just appealed to me. It was... Yeah, I think when I first started getting into the blues, I loved the vocal thing and then the guitar part. And even Dire Straits, because of that too, there'd be a good melody on the vocal, then he'd play a part on the guitar. That always appealed to me. I was like, I want to do that. But yeah, some people are better at picking up note. Like Rick's great at that. He can play. He's got a photographic memory, the bastard. But he can kind of pick stuff, other people's solos, and just remember them. But yeah, but he can improvise too. He's not stuck just doing like one thing. Best upgrade for a Mexican Strat. Why do you need to upgrade it? What's the problem? I don't believe in upgrading stuff for just the sake of it. It's a waste of money. If the guitar's good, don't do it. If the switch is faulty, replace the switch. I love those pickups in those guitars too. I think the switch is the first thing that gets loose on a Mexican Strat, so that'd be the first thing I'd probably swap. But if it's fine, don't do it. Ian, welcome, mate. Hope you're doing well. Slider pickup still in business. I don't even know who that is, so I'm not sure, mate. Sorry. Can you find their website or something? Dennis says, since finding your channel, I've really taken a deeper dive into blues. Oh, thanks, man. Really expanded my musical taste. Very cool. Yeah, I listen to a lot of different styles, but when it comes to the stuff I really enjoy, like, I've always loved the whole jamming with others thing, like unrehearsed. It's so much fun. Blues is like the king of that kind of thing. You can just get up and play and know the formula. It's good fun. Sure, there's a few tunes you're going to have to know the parts to, but, you know, generally speaking, it's pretty cool. You can just get up and play. Your US tallies look weird as a Lefty. Was that stock or did you mod them? Anti-clockwise is loud. So forwards is louder. So if I'm holding a guitar this way, forwards towards the neck is up. All Strats, all Fenders do that. All Squires do that as well, which is right for a guitar. Gibson get it. They wire their lefties like their right-handed guitars. So all their pots roll as it would on a right-handed guitar. They just basically take the same wiring and plonk it in a lefty. So yeah, all the pots go backwards, all the volume controls go backwards as on. So I've gotten so used to that now. If I buy a guitar that's not like, if I purchased the Strat, it would have to have the pots going the correct way. Otherwise, it would be a mess. It would take me years of unlearning. But with Gibsons, as soon as I get on them, I know, and Tokai's and all those guitars, I know that reverse is more, and I don't think twice about it. So I'm sure there's some out there that might not have that wiring, but since I've started playing, I haven't found one Fender, Squire, or Gibson or anything that is the opposite way to what I'm used to. So they keep it consistent. PRS, on the other hand, don't. I've played left-handed PRSs where the volume control is set up like a Strat, so forwards or towards the neck is more, and on mine it's the opposite way. So I don't know. That's kind of strange. Hey, thank you, Nick. Hope you're doing well, mate. Thank you. Do I use any amp software at home? No, not really. The only thing I use is a 2 Notes Captor X. I love that thing. You've heard it all month and all last month on the channel. From what I love, having actual like valve amps in the room, it's fantastic, and it takes the complication and like the convoluted setup out of it. You just plug an XLR into your sound card, you're good to go. But that's it. I don't really use any of that stuff. I don't even have the Kemper on the desk anymore. I still got it, but I don't use it. I'm just using the Captor X. I've never been that big into software. Every time I've tried it, I've always had a glitch, a little latency or something like that. And yeah, I'm pretty technical. Like, I'm qualified with a few things, and I'm a great troubleshooter. And I was like, this isn't making my life easier. So I don't do any of that stuff anymore. It's just, yeah, I wouldn't mind trying some of it, but just out of personal curiosity more than anything else. But yeah, for me, it's all about plug and play. I want to be able to walk in, plug the amp, turn the amp on, turn the Captor X on, and record. It's pretty easy to do. Yeah, I spoke to Rick yesterday. He used the Captor X for the first time, I don't know, a week or so ago, whatever it was, and he's like, man, that thing sounds so good. I was like, yeah, it is good. Hey, speaking of Which Rick, welcome, mate. He just says just awoke from an obscene food coma. Merry Christmas to all. Hey, thank you, man. Yeah, you too. Yeah, I thought I'd better do a live stream before that kicks in. I got home after eating a lot, and I thought I'll have some caffeine, and then I'm gonna probably take a break and have a rest. It's still early here too. It's like 8 o'clock, but yeah, we'll go for another. What's it? How long have we been streaming for here? Where's the time limit? All right, we'll go for till 60 minutes. I'm on a sugar high. That's from Nick. Very cool. Miking an amp is always better than software. Look, it always isn't as well. So, sorry. Okay, so compared to straight up software, I agree with you on the most part. But if you don't know what you're doing, or if you got really bad tone, then it's not always a better option, because you still got to get the amp to sound great in the room before you put a mic next to it. The great thing about the Captor is you get the amp going into a virtual speaker, or you can actually still mic up the cabinet. So it offers the best of both worlds, in my opinion. What are things to look for in a good teacher? What questions would you ask them? I would say, like, I haven't had a lot of like personalized lessons or anything, but I would make sure you're going to learn the kind of music that you want to learn first and foremost. Don't go to a guy expecting to play jazz who only knows how to play AC/DC or something like that, you know? So find out exactly what their strengths are and see if you can learn a practical approach as well as a technical one, because running scales for 6 months isn't really going to make you a great like improviser. It's just going to give you motor skills. So yeah, I would make sure whoever you're going to get lessons from is doing the style of music that you want to learn. I would almost say you don't even necessarily need a personalized instructor anymore either. If you want to learn blues, there's a million great, you know, free lick lessons out there. Texas Blues Alley, Anthony's a good mate of mine. His stuff is the best. You know, Robert Bake. There's so many great like lessons you can find online. So, but if you are going to get lessons with somebody, make sure you're going to be working towards the music that you actually want to play, because if you don't, it's a waste of time. You'll get bored. I know I would anyway. It's like, hey, I want to learn how to play blues. All right, let's start with Hotel California, which is an okay song, but yeah, not, you know, it's a completely different style of music. Do I ever play around with alternative tunings? I don't, mate. No, I find it. I'm not a great slide player. I'm learning, but I'm not a great slide player, and I'm not really into. It's just more stuff to remember, and I've dabbled with like open tuning before with a capo and that, and I just or like an E tuning basically that you could, you know, plonk a capo on, and I've just never really gotten into it, man. I have enough trouble with standard tuning. I'll just stick with that. Oh, I mean, look, if you can get around it in your head as well. I think too, the more you play in standard tuning, as soon as you go to something else, it really throws you. You're gonna have to learn different stuff and different. It'll be a different approach. So, yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. I'm not really that interested. You know, I know a lot of people will tune their guitar differently for slide, but I got two friends who are monster slide players who never change their tuning, Dom and Brian. So if they can play great slide without doing anything different, then that'll work for me too. Let me go. Ian says, I miss my Made in Mexico Strat. I wish I'd never traded with my buddy. I'll ask him to trade it back. Yeah, Rick did that once as well. He's made some good trades over the years, Rick, I've got to tell you. Any recommendations on Octave up pedals? Yeah, that's a tough question, because the one that everyone will tell you is probably the Pog is overpriced, in my opinion. Like, at least in Australia, they're so expensive. You know, it depends. It depends on your budget too. There are a few that come to mind. One of them would be like starting at the less expensive end, Donna makes some, and they're pretty reliable little pedals as well. The tracking's pretty good for single note stuff. Doesn't do the chord thing that well, but it has up and down. You can't just really, I don't really know any that just do up. It's always like above and below. One of the best all-round Octave pedals that I've ever owned was the Boss OC3. It was great. It can do up and down or a blend of both, and that will track pretty well. It's got a poly mode on there where you can sort of set it so you can bend notes and it will track. I would go with something like that because you can also change the blend, which is how much of your guitar you're going to hear versus how much has changed. So yeah, I would say if you can, go for the Boss. It's a pretty great pedal. They make good stuff. They've never changed their visual design, but they've managed to stay current, which is fantastic. Without really doing a whole lot of stuff, just the same stuff every year. Like all the guitar companies. Hey, we've got a new paint job. Oh yeah, charge another $100 for that one. Hey, Julia, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Vanilla Slice. What a great name. That's awesome. That's hilarious. Dennis says he bought Robert Baker's courses. Yeah, man, that guy can play. He's great. And I would have no hesitations recommending him just from what I've seen on, just these public videos. And he's a great guy. He's one of the best dudes you'll ever meet. Just spent 6 hours with my extended family and mother-in-law. I got a big dose of the blues. I got to play out now. May I tell you how my night went last night? I can't remember if I texted you or not, but so I get into my car and there's a big scratch on the front of it. So that may have happened in the car park. I was like, that's fantastic. I drove all this way to a shop that was shut. I couldn't believe it. So anyway, I get home after being right across from a friggin' Bunnings store, which is like our hardware store, superstore thing for people overseas. I get home, my washing machine belt broke. I was like, I was right across the street, and it's, a fair drive away. It's like, man, so I had to undo there's all wet clothes and crap in there. So I spent an hour at the laundromat last night. Christmas Eve, I had a laundromat. I was like, this can't get any worse. It's just like, man, then I get home and I was like tweaked to my back. It's like far out. That's it, going to bed early. That's what happened last night. Man, what a day. But I'm lucky I don't have the in-law thing, so I'm all good. Mine's painless these days. It's nice and easy. The Boss the Wazza Boss is great. Yeah, they make good stuff. I really think, Boss, while they've not changed a lot visually, they got it right. Like Ibanez and Maxon, Ibanez are mostly Maxon pedals anyway, but yeah, those companies just got it right. So you can't go too far wrong with them. I know a lot of people can't justify spending the extra money on the Wazacraft stuff, but you don't have to. They got a million other great pedals. Hey, Mike, thank you, man. Far out. Thank you. He says, keep rocking. You too, mate. That's awesome. Thank you. You got any questions, Mike? Just add in the blues me, and I'll keep an eye out in the chat here. And yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you for the support. Merry Christmas from the UK. That's from Jacko717. Thanks, mate. Scott Reynolds, welcome. Far out. Everyone's popping in tonight. This is awesome. Colin Oliver, blessed Christmas, Shane. You may consider Octave from Joyo. Ah, okay. Joyo, what's that? Is that 16? Is that what that's called? XV1. It has a blend feature as well. Very cool. Yeah, there's plenty of great pedals out there. I mean, I was just going off the top of my head. So, yeah, there you go. Check out that one as well. Hey, Dan Jackson, thank you, man. He says, Shane, have you changed your string gauge throughout the years? Yes. So I started with light strings because I didn't know any better. I actually moved all the way up to 11s. I even had 12s on my 335s at one point, but I went back to 11s for years. I think it was a coincidence thing. I started getting like a bit of this pain in my forearm that just went at some point, like after months. It was crazy. Just like a tennis elbow thing. It like hurt to shake hands and stuff. And so I dropped them down to 10s. I dropped them down to 10s for two reasons. Like one of my friends said, all you need on a tally is 10s. I don't know what the logic was with that, but Rick will say the opposite. But my other friend Brian said 10's all you need on a tally. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll put 10s on. And the forearm pain went away. So I was like, you know what? I'm done. So I just buy these now. I'm not sponsored by these guys either, but it's funny because the PRS that I had back had 9s on it. They were really light. And my intonation was so out. I put 10s back on and it was fine. I was like, oh, I don't even have to set this up. So, yeah, 10s on everything. Keeps it nice and simple. I went up to 11s on the Vola recently. I took them straight off. I wasn't. And then I think I gave Rick the rest of the box. Yeah, what a time to lose the belt. Yeah, man, I tell you what, that the thing snapped. The rubber belt in the washing machine just went... And I saw it. I sort of slid the machine around because I was like, why isn't this thing spinning? And then the belt was actually on the floor. I was like, oh, they've designed it so when it breaks, you can find it. So yeah, tomorrow I got to get that. I got to try and Boxing Day, man. I'm gonna try and find a bloody washing machine belt on Boxing Day. But yeah, nothing better than spending New Year's Eve in the laundromat last night. It was awesome. Happy Christmas, Hana Quaz. Oh man, I can't even say that, but thank you, Marcy. Thanks. Hey, Bloom Tick Bloom, welcome, mate. Hope you're doing well. Do you ever think the PRS should come out with a 513 model for the SE? Like, you know what? That'd be really cool. I would love to see a different Lefty at some point. Just anything. You know, I love the Custom 24, but this is the problem with guitar companies. They'll release just one guitar for 10 years. You know, Epiphone only released a 335, an SG, and a Les Paul, and they were always the same for years and years and years. Now they don't. They've got lots of guitars. But yeah, I don't want to see PRS just stick with one style of guitar for 10 years. It's no fun. I mean, they're great, but yeah. That would be cool. That'd be really cool. Oh, thanks for the super chat, guys. I'll get down to these. I got 7 more Cale pedals for Xmas. Wow, that's really cool. Man, they're great. They're probably I think Donna would be like, if you're talking about the most affordable pedals out there, the Donnas would be close to my favorite. If you're talking about the best inexpensive pedals, Cale are great. I really think they'd be top of the list. I tell you what, there's we'll get over to those in a sec. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Cale stuff. They really make good things. They're people behind that business are really nice too, unlike a lot of other companies. Yeah, I think the 12s Vanilla Slice, they were, I may have had a wound G on them. It was either a 12 or a 13 gauge string. It was crazy. I went through a Stevie Ray Vaughan phase for about a week on a 335 where I wanted to play heavy strings. Jacko717, thank you, mate. Far out. From a fellow Lefty bluesman. Very cool. Thanks for your uploads. Hey, no problems, man. Hope you're having a good end of the year. Hopefully things are going okay where you are. I know it's a bit crazy everywhere right now, but like I said earlier, if you missed the start of the stream, as long as we survive the year, we're doing all right. That's one way of looking at it as well. So thank you. Merry Christmas, Shane. Do you plan on putting a treble bleed on your new PRS pickups? There's one in there. So there is. I don't know if I mentioned that already. Sorry. I was provided with some new old stock caps. I don't know the specifics, but it does have one in there. I actually handballed that job off to Alex at the shop, and I just said, go for it. Rip everything out. New pots, treble bleed, and I think he goes, oh, I'd already had one in there. So yeah, I've still got, there is one in there, which is great. So yeah, I think any humbucker guitar can benefit from it now. Like, yeah, but it completely and utterly transformed my Tokai. like the pickups always sounded great all the way up, but it turned down it wasn't great. And I didn't know that until I started hearing more of the Treble Bleed humbucker setups. So Jeff, Jacko, Dan, thank you, guys. I appreciate all the support. Mike as well, far out. And who else have I missed here? Dylan as well from earlier. Pork Chop. Thank you guys. Yeah, appreciate all the support. Yeah, one of the goals with the channel, I think as a few years ago, it was just to review as many lefties as possible. You know, trying to get the big, like one of the biggest archives of lefty guitars out there, and it's on its way. It's on its way. It may already be, actually. I'm not too sure. Hopefully, as of next year, there'll be 30 or 40 more going up. We'll see how we go. Riff, thank you, man. Merry Christmas, Shane. The redundancy gift to myself is the Gretsch G6 59 TFM. It's a fantastic Japanese-made guitar. Very cool. I'm actually going to look that up. I can't share it on... Oh, can I do that? Have I got this set up properly? No. Of course not. Yeah, wow. That's beautiful, man. Far out. Go check out that guitar, folks. It's... what a top. And it looks good in all the colors. I don't know if I've played one of these before or not. It's got a Bigsby. Beautiful. I wish I could share it. I'll work that out for next time. Yeah. Congrats, man. That's fantastic. And thanks for the support. You know, Gretsch guitars I always felt like were aimed at anyone except for me when it came to their style and tone, but you know, that black one I reviewed recently is still haunting me a bit. I may have to do something silly at some point, but we'll see. So yeah, thanks again, mate. I appreciate it. Let me just scroll back up. I missed some comments here. Ordered a Gretsch G5230T. Very nice, Ian. Some of the other stores were out. Oh, some of the other stores were out of stock. Got it on Musician's Friend. Yeah, I didn't really know much about that website. I've heard of it, but yeah, is that Guitar Center? Do they own that, or is that some other music? Excuse me, getting a dry throat. Or does some other company own that? I remember reading a bit about them, but we don't have it here. So, oh mate, the Gretsch stuff is great. It really is. I think I really like their, which is kind of maybe counter-intuitive, but I really love their solid body guitars. They've all been good. I mean, they're all nice, even the archtop ones. Benedict says, new here. Shane, really enjoy videos. Thanks. Appreciate that. It's awesome to see another lefty guitarist play the blues. Oh, you're a lefty as well. That's awesome. Yeah, there's a new lefty shop in the UK, from what I've found. I got a left-handed guitar website. It's called lefthandedguitarworld.com. It's relatively new. I haven't done a lot on there, but when I was researching left-handed shops, I came across that. I was like, oh, there's a new one there too. So, yeah, check it out. I don't know what they're called. I can't remember, but Mark says, Merry Christmas from London. I'm sitting here with a silly hat on, large coffee, looking forward to opening my Boss DD200. Very cool, and annoying the neighbors with loud ambient carols. Very cool. I should learn how to play some of those Christmas songs. I've never really sat down and learnt them properly. Anytime we do an end of the year thing or there's a birthday at a gig, Rick does all that stuff. He's great at doing that. I tried the Boss Next Tone. You know, I actually had one sent out for a review. They were going to let me keep it. I had it for probably 8 months and I sent it back. I think it's a good amp. I just wasn't using it. I think they're more of an immediate gratification amp in terms of their setup. They've only got a few things that you get with it. It's weird because you get far less with it than you do a Katana, but it's way more expensive. For that price, you almost might be better, not for everybody, obviously, but if you already have your own pedals, maybe you think about the Blues Cube. But when it comes to the the next tone, they're pretty solid. It's got a good 3D punch to it. There's not a lot to really dislike about them. Except for when they try to meddle with your stuff. And then I sent it back because I was like, I'm done. But anyway, that's my little rant. Scroll down. When are you doing a blues tour of Tassie? Oh, mate, you know what? I haven't done I only really play locally around Melbourne when I do it. Because I tell you what, we used to do this gig across the other side of the city from where I am. And where I moved to now, it's even further. And it's more of a pain in the ass to get to. So I'm just really lazy with playing live. I only really want to play at local places. Lining up a tour is a lot of work. It's a full-time job. So I don't really, it would just be a nightmare to try to put that together and find musos. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe one day, but we'll see. Treble Bleed you talked about on the Gretsch. I'll look at mine when I get mine. So from what I understand, the independent volume control, the one for the pickup itself, doesn't have a treble bleed. It depends on the model too. Like there's some that have the master, or most of them have the master volume. Sometimes that can have a treble bleed on it. So yeah, just double check. If you turn down the pickup volume control, it should still sound really bright. And if it doesn't, then, and you want one, then put it in. It's the best $3 you'll spend. It really is good. Mike B says, Shane, please go to Taniguchi, is that how you pronounce it? Gaki in Tokyo. It's the guitar store exclusive for lefties. So I'll let you in on a little secret. You know Kafir? He messaged me the other day. He said, mate, when all of this COVID crap's over, you want to go check out some guitar shops somewhere around the world? I said, sure. So, yeah, we might be doing some stuff, checking out some shops. So we're talking about maybe going to Japan or somewhere in Europe once we can. It might not be for another 8 months or something, but yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, I'd love to go to Japan. I think that'd be awesome. There's supposed to be some of the best guitar shops in the world there. So I'm all about that. Not just for the guitar shops, but yeah, it'd be a fun place to visit. I think at last count, Fender offered over 200 right-handed guitars and something like 28 lefties. Okay, cool. 28 is still pretty good. That's that 10.8. What is it? Yeah, 10% of the market basically, or just over. But that's a lot of models for a company to have. You know, the only other ones that have more would be Schecter. They've got probably 45 models, I'm going to say. I remember looking that up for stats at one point. It's something like 40. I actually contacted Schecter to ask them if I could borrow like all of their left-handed guitars that weren't pointy. And they said, absolutely, yep, we'll organize this. Let me get back to you. And then we're all locked down in for 8 months. So I need to actually get back onto them and work that out, because one of the distributors isn't too far from me. So yeah. But 28 models in a brand is really good. Do I know the Eco V50R amp? I don't know. I have a feeling from memory. Oh no, I'm actually thinking of a clothing brand. I was gonna say I have a feeling that's. Let me have a look. Eco amplifier. You know what? I don't know about it. No, sorry. It's not a brand I'm familiar with. Hey, Sonia, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Hello from Texas. I have a Gretsch 2620 hollow body and love it. My favorite guitar. Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, the Gretsch stuff is creeping in now. It's weird. I never thought I'd be as... Is the picture a bit dark? Hang on. It is. Let me fix this up. I never really thought I'd be that interested in ever owning a Gretsch, but the two that I've tried are really good. I've reviewed probably 5, but I think the Japanese ones were really expensive a while back, but they're good. Shane, did you get that Les Paul you reviewed? You know what? No, I haven't, Roy. There's always this underlying, like you think about anytime you borrow a van full of guitars, they're just on loan. I don't get to keep them. I get a good deal price if I want to buy one, right? But it can happen all of the time. You pick up something, you go, oh, I've got to buy this, I've got to buy this, I've got to buy that, and you're thinking, hang on, I already got a Les Paul. I don't need another one. If I didn't own a Les Paul, I probably would have bought that Les Paul Classic. It was great. Or the 60s one. I think that Bourbon Burst one was fantastic. So, I know is the short answer. I think what I'm going to buy coming up is a new pedal board. I've got a few others that I want to put together on a board, and just one that's slightly wider than the one I've got, because I've got these larger pedals and I want to be able to use them instead of them just sitting there. I've only got one pedal board. It's funny, I had heaps of them at one point. I ended up just giving them to friends because I wasn't using them. I'm like, man, I need a pedal board. Hey, thank you, Sonia. Merry Christmas to you too. Thank you. Yeah, if you've got a question, guys, feel free to ask. I do say hi to people as they come in. It looks like someone keeps wanting to shout out. Adrian, welcome, mate. If you've got anything to add without spamming, let us know. We've got Aaron from Oregon. Very nice. Thanks for joining in, mate. Hope you're doing well. Jay Nixo says, Shane, I decided I want to stay solid state, and they are really usable as a live amp. And you could state 3 that are actually good. The PV Bandit are great. So if you're asking what's 3 great solid state amplifiers, PV Bandit and the Studio Pro, it depends on the size of the gig, but those are really great. The Roland Jazz Chorus amps are really great. They're just, on the clean channel at least, they're fantastic. The Fender Deluxe Plus 112 is as good as the PV Bandit. Easily, that thing rocks. You can even use the clean channel and say something like a Katana or whatever to get that kind of clean tone as well. But in my opinion, the best... and the Blues Cube. The Roland Blues Cube is fantastic. I'm really impressed. I did a shootout years ago with the PV Bandit and the Roland Blues Cube, and there's not a lot in it. They do sound different, but they're just not one's like way better than the other. They're just different amplifiers. So they would be the ones that are on my list. Stu says, Merry Christmas, everybody. Greetings from Ballarat. Welcome, mate. So Pork Chop says, hey, have I been to the new Billy High store in Melbourne? Are you talking about the one in Nuttawading? Because I did a guitar search Saturday there. It had a lot of views, actually, which was strange for one of those videos. But if there's one in the city that they've just opened, no. I don't often go to the city much anymore. But yeah, if you're talking about that one, the Superstore, it's great. It's really good. Those guys in there are cool too. They kind of got a couple of the guys that have been around for a long time, like the good guys that were actually like good. And the new staff are awesome. So yeah, that's one of the best stores in the city, like in the greater area of Melbourne for new equipment. Them and Sky are by far my 2 favorite big retail shops for gear. I actually thought they were probably going to close up because of what was going on. I had a feeling like they opened right before they had to shut, and I was thinking, don't close down again. Like, I really like individually owned shops, and they're the ones that have survived. And as long as Billy Hyde's doesn't go too big too soon with if they start making more shops, they should do fine. One great shop is enough. Have you ever thought of doing collaborations? I've done plenty. I've got a playlist full of them, actually. It's funny because sometimes the obscure collaboration videos just don't take off. They just don't. I don't know. Might have to do some more. When do I use a delay effect? Are the times you want it off? Yeah, I love delay. I mostly use it as a complement to reverb with the mix down, and sometimes it just sounds really nice. It's great when you're playing cleaner, in my opinion, especially live anyway, because it adds a sort of 3D sort of sound to your tone. But I love it as an escalation in a solo. So if you can solo, you know, with maybe one overdrive on, then two, and then you've got nowhere else to go, throw a delay on and it gets epic, right? It also works great just clean. Like, I love having that bounce back sound. The repeats come back over cleaner parts. Yeah, delay's really musical. You can easily overdo it, but the best delay pedals are the ones you don't really notice. And I know that sounds almost like what you don't want to hear it. No, you'll hear it, but you won't pay too much attention to it. Just gives you a bit more niceness. And yeah, I really like delay. I always have one on my board. I won't use it all night, and especially if I'm playing like a funky groove, I generally won't have it on. But I love it for like a slow blues, just filling in the chords for someone else who's playing as well. It kind of sounds nice. Yeah, analog delay or even digital. This just depends on the tone of the pedal. Took your advice and got a cabinet for the Joyo Jackman I bought. Very cool, man. Yeah, the bigger the cabinet, the better that thing's going to sound. It's going to be great. SGs are killer guitars. I love them. Yeah, they're good. You know, I've never been that comfortable playing them. I've owned two. I've owned a Tokai and I've owned a Epiphone. And I'm all about them when I get them, but for me, they're not the right fit. They don't. There's basically the only guitar I get out of sorts on. I can pick up a Gibson, an Epiphone, a Squier, a Fender, any of the guitars I've got, the Little Crow. Oh, yeah. I'll fill you in on that in a moment. But, yeah, an SG is weird because I look down and the reference where the join of the neck is so much like there's very little join between the neck and the body. So I find myself not... I look down and my reference points are gone. It's the only guitar that happens on. But, yeah, one of the Little Crows it went missing in shipping. So I'm a guitar down. I'm spewing. What's my most comfortable guitar? I would say the PRS SE is pretty great. It really is. It's a comfortable guitar. I love the Strat as well in terms of comfort. The Telecasters aren't as comfortable as the Strat, just on. I would say that. And the Volas are really good too. Yeah, even the Kiesel, because it's got the contours, it's more comfortable. It really is. It's got a sort of slope on the top and the belly cut thing. So that's a comfortable guitar, much more comfortable than a Hey, Jamal, what are you doing, man? Thank you, mate. Thanks for all the support this year, mate. And congrats on the house, too. Says, Merry Christmas, Shane. Thank you for keeping us sane through this crazy year. Hopefully when the world gets right, I can come down to Melbourne. There you go. I can learn from the way of the Jedi from you and Rick. Yeah, mate, you'll probably be corrupt if you want to learn off us. But no, that's cool, mate. If you ever make it down, let us know. That'd be super cool. Yeah, we're planning on meeting up this year in Texas, but it may be next year now. So we'll see how we go. Hey, thanks again, man. Far out. I hope you guys are doing well. What's my favorite dinosaur? Stegosaurus. I just dig the name. What's the difference between overdrive and distortion? Overdrive is... distortion generally is more of a higher gain sound, and it's trying to... While overdrive can emulate amps more, it's a tighter sound, so you get less bottom end a lot of the time, so it really sticks out of the mix. Distortion is a lot more like an amplifier tone. That's a really broad way of explaining it, but you get more gain on a distortion, but not always more frequencies. You don't always get the frequencies you need when you're playing live from a distortion pedal. Every time I've tried a distortion, I always opt to play two overdrives in conjunction with each other. That always works better for what I like and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of distortion pedals are trying to be a Marshall amp in a box. So thanks again, Jamal. Far out, man. Briscoe 45, welcome. Oh, Petoskey, very cool. I've been there, man. That's awesome. I got a Petoskey stone on my kitchen table out there. I remember Billy Hyde's first store, High Street Paran. Wow, buddy got a drum kit there when we were in high school. Far out. Yeah, I can't remember if I remember any shop in. Probably. Yeah, maybe I wasn't living in Melbourne at that point in time, but yeah, they've definitely been around for a long time. They would have paid a fortune to use the name, I know that much. I want Joe Barron, Denny Gatton pickups. Man, I tell you what, those pickups are fantastic. You won't regret it. They're expensive, but they're well worth it. After trying other pickups in that guitar once, I went back to maybe twice. I went back to the Danny Gatton pickups. It's so good. Yeah, Jacko says, I feel the same about the SG's. Big AC/DC fan, but I always find them awkward to play. Yeah, I feel the same. It's just those reference points are missing for me. I look down and I think I'm on the 8th fret and I'm on fret 10 or 12 or whatever. So let me scroll down. Hey Shane, as a lefty, did you start to play a flipped righty? I did originally. When I first got an acoustic guitar, that was my only option that I could find within. I didn't know about music shops or anything. I bought it from my first acoustic was a Samick, and I got a right-handed one. It was basically like the same guitar. It didn't make any difference which way up it went. I didn't even change the nut or anything. I just had it restrung. So that was the first guitar. And then after that, all the electrics were always left-handed. I always knock the controls with my arm if they're righty. Would you flip it righty if there was no lefty? No, I wouldn't buy a right-handed guitar to flip lefty. For me, I'm too stuck in my ways playing lefties. It's about arm position. Like when your arm... I don't even have a guitar out. What kind of guitar? Oh, yeah, I do. It's all about like where my arm sits. It would knock the tone and volume controls, and I can't adjust that anymore. I'm too used to playing a certain way. What's my dream car? You know, I actually had one years ago for a brief amount of time, but I always liked Jeep Wranglers. It was really cool. So I had a 4-door one of those for a while, but I ended up selling it. I wasn't using it, and it was just a waste of money. But I love Dodge Chargers. I think they're killer. I always rent one when I go away because they're fantastic. Just great highway cars. Yeah, I'd probably say a Dodge Charger. It's not the highest end of car in the world, like when you're talking about like all those crazy expensive cars, but I'm not really... I just like cool cars, and I really dig that. So Jeep or a Dodge. Excuse me. Dara says, Merry Christmas, Shane. Thanks, man. You too. Hope you're doing well. Jamal says, finally getting this house mess done. Oh, finally done. What a headache. Next thing is getting my Les Paul out. Yeah, oh, mate. Yeah, congrats. That Les Paul is great. So Jamal bought the 60s one in the Bourbon Burst that not the same guitar, but the same model as that. He bought it locally to him. So, yeah, man, what a nice guitar. Super cool. You should be about done with gear now, Jamal, mate. Come on. You got more stuff than me. So I've sold 2 guitars recently. 2 Dan Electro guitars down. There was a piece of gear I needed to do something that's coming up. It's not another camera, by the way, but I ended up getting a good offer on a guitar. Well, it was all right. I sold guitars to this guy before, and he wanted it. I was like, done. We'll do a deal. And then I took that cash and bought this other piece of gear that you'll see coming up. So, yeah, it just keeps going around in circles. What was the point of that story? There was a point to it. Oh, yeah. So now I've got space in the cupboard. I got 2 guitars down. So maybe there'll be a Gretsch slotted in there at some point. Man, Talking about delay, what settings do you use? So I like the repeat to come back no more than about three times. That's usually about enough. I'll have the mix down so it's not overly obvious that it's on. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Then set it up however you like it. But it depends on your style of music, man. But for me, that works. It just adds a bit of niceness. You kind of work off the reverb of your amp, but also off the delay. Hey, Adolf, welcome, man. Not sure if is that a legit name or what? Sorry if it is, by the way. I just thought I'd. My strings always break when I play my SG, and the SG is my open tuning metal guitar now. It sounds to me like there could be a couple of things going wrong. It could be the nut where the strings sit in towards the headstock. If they're breaking towards the bridge, get a wound string and just sort of file where the saddles are on the Tune-O-Matic bridge, if that makes sense. So you can grab not a lot, but just run like a broken D string over those points where the string sits, and that should fix it. I've had that happen with a whole lot of guitars over the years. It's always one that does it, and it's like, do that, done, it's fixed. Scott says, my favorite overdrive is the crunch channel on my man. The Marshall crunch channel kicks ass. It's so good. You know, I haven't used the Marshall out live yet, but it's, well, live since we've been able to play. But the next time, it's coming out. Delay pedal on the top, going through the effects loop, the channel switcher, and a wah pedal. Done. That's it. 335 or Les Paul, what's your preference? Les Paul, just less feedback issues. Yeah, I think 335s can sound fantastic. It's hard to find one that does. You want to find one that's got a nice chirpy sound, and that's harder to find. And then if you play with high gain, it might not be the best choice. I know Robert Baker gets away with it as well at a 335, but he doesn't play through amps loud in a room, right? He's playing through whatever he's playing through, the two notes torpedo or whatever. So he's not using like a big speaker box behind him. Otherwise, it'd be unusable with that amount of gain. So, yeah, and that's not to belittle Robert. I mean, he's a great friend of mine. So I'm just saying that you can use them for all kinds of styles of music. But to me, a 335's best suited for like the lower gain kind of stuff. Up to about some sort of classic rock stuff, you get away with it. But in my experience playing live with them, I find them unusable when you really want to crank on the drive. Unless you're a good fair, a couple of feet away from the amp. Otherwise, it's going to squeal. But you know what? It's what you like the best. In terms of how they both play, they both feel pretty much the same. It's just the end result is different. Sonia says, please give Shane a big thumbs up. Hey, thanks, Sonia. Appreciate that. No worries. I know National Lampoon's Vacation is on the Christmas one tonight, so that'll be a bit of fun. Oh, wow. Far out. I said it was going to go an hour, like an hour and 25 minutes. So we'll go for another few here. If anyone's got any last questions, feel free to let me know. I'm feeling like my throat's starting to go now, so. Slapback delay is awesome. Yeah, I know a lot of Rick plays with the slapback delay a lot as well. For the right style of player, it's a great sound. I've never cured neck dive on my Epiphone SG. It's now a tribute to my AC/DC obsession. Yeah, that's one of those things that's pretty hard unless you buy a different brand. Framus make a SG style electric which is weighted correctly, so it's got perfect balance. But yeah, the neck dive thing sucks. I'm not a big fan of that. But it doesn't bother some people either. They're like, I only play it standing up, and I'm always holding the guitar. So. Sorry, is it Simon? or Simone. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Sorry. Hey Shane, how was Dr. Rick? He's doing well. He was in the chat earlier. Merry Christmas to you too, mate. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I'll probably catch up with Rick. We're talking about doing a stream or some videos coming up, so we'll get him back on the channel. Vanilla slice, both. There is no, or yes is the right answer. Sorry, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that. Sorry. It says, I would like your opinion. Shane, is the Princeton 65 the best amp for room, for maybe bedroom use? Is that what you're asking? For Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff? Greetings from Greece. They're awesome, man. Like, if you're going to use a Princeton with a tube screamer, you'll get a great tone. They're loud. They're way louder than you probably think they are. So if your question is, are they okay for home use? They're still going to be very loud, but very usable amps. Cleans are fantastic. So if you get a 10-inch speaker version, it's not going to be quite as room filling as the 12-inch speaker version, but you might not want all of that volume either. So the clean tones are pretty hard to beat. They're pretty great. Hope you're doing well in Greece too. It's on my list of places to get to one day. I have a last question I just got here. Can we start over? Yeah, no. Yeah, I'll just start again. Well, I'll tell you what, I didn't have the mic on for the first 3 minutes before, so maybe we should. Just catching the tail end of this. Merry Christmas, Shane, and everybody. Thanks, Tony. I appreciate that. You too, mate. Just got done rapping. Far out. Yeah, it's funny, in my family now, we don't wrap anything. We just don't. It's just like, it's going straight in the bin. So we just put it in little bags or in, not even, like I bought my mum my brother and I bought our mum a TV. It's like, do we need to wrap this? It's like, nah. Just carry it in. There you go, surprise. So yeah, that was that. We don't really do that stuff, but yeah, it is fun. If you've got kids or you don't want to spoil a surprise, then it's a great thing. Yeah, we just gave up doing that many years ago now. It's like, oh, we don't need to. Just chuck it in a bag. Preferred fret size. Any medium jumbo or vintage tall are good. 6105s are probably my favorite replacement for it. I'll type it in so you can check it out. But yeah, look, I'm open to what I thought I always needed in guitars isn't the case anymore. I like anything that feels good to play and that is good. So I'm happy with buying something now that is different, as long as the frets aren't really short. If they're really short, I won't buy the guitar. But if they're tall, I don't care if they're like a wider fret, like a Gibson or whatever. It doesn't really bother me. Krenner Guitar, welcome, mate. Yeah, eco-friendly. Yeah, it's just sort of like, man, I get it for, surprising kids and that. It all makes sense, but it's kind of like, with us, it's easier. We just go, yep, there we go, done. Hakan, oh, I like your name, man. That's cool. It says, I'm from Melbourne. Is that Turkish? Or am I completely wrong? I'm from Melbourne, currently in Thailand, coming back soon. Maybe Brizzy. Cool. We got to go somewhere warm, mate. So that'll be good. You mentioned made in Japan Fenders don't need upgrades. How about classic vibes? No, well, one of the things about the made in Japan Fender guitars, from my experience, is they've always got small frets. That's why I've never bought one. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to buy one. And then I pick them up and I'm like, why are the frets so small? So, that's the only deal breaker for me now, more than almost anything else. So, yeah, I don't know if classic vibes are pretty great. Like, I always say there's no reason to replace something on a guitar for the sake of it. You're just wasting your money. If a switch doesn't work or the pot's broken or something, then do it. But don't do it just because. I mean, look, you can. There's guys that will change pickups because they're bored, but I don't get any enjoyment out of that whatsoever. It's just more time you could be putting into productive stuff. Like, play to some backing tracks. Sorry. Oh, Christos. Cool. It's hard in Greek. Have Blues Junior like a tweet. I'm wondering if it's good to change it with a Princeton 65 for a... Look, the thing about the Stevie Ray Vaughan sound, it all comes down to the playing. It really, realistically has nothing to do with the amps. Because if you're going by his live performances, you'll never get your amps up that loud. And if it's going by studio recordings, he has like 8 microphones in a room with 3 amps. So I've seen some of his sessions of recording, and it's not as straightforward as you think. It all comes down to nailing the feel. It all comes down to to understanding what makes his sound his, or listening to Albert King. But basically, like, the gear has less impact on trying to nail someone's sound than the feel does. It's all about the feel. So work on the playing. Like, there's nothing to say you couldn't do the Stevie Ray Vaughan thing on a Tweed Blues Junior. You just get a different version of that sort of sound because you're trying to play that type of thing. So it's still going to sound pretty much the same. It's funny because a lot of comments are like, oh man, I watch you play 7 different guitars and they all sound the same. So it comes down to the hands more than anything else. Because I don't know if Stevie ever used a Princeton either, right? It's just a cleaner platform possibly to get the sound that you want. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. Nearly every live stream, someone will ask, "Oh, what gear should I buy to get this band's sound?" I'm like, learn how to find out what they use, but also then learn the style. It's the most important thing. Like, great example, again, we'll talk about Rick before. He can play all the solos out of any classic song, and they always sound like that because not only can he play them right, but that's the point. So he's got the feel of the song down. He can do the Dire Straits thing, and then he can do it on a Telecaster. It's going to sound great. So it still sounds legit. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up, but I'm going to do one more live stream before the end of the year. Hopefully, if we can organize it, Rick will be on or over. We'll work out how to do that coming up. We might just use StreamYard if we have to, but yeah, I wrap this up. Take one more question here. Are you a tremolo or hardtail guy? Both now. I used to only like hardtail guitars, or I'd lock the Strats down, but now I'm appreciating a good tremolo system. So either is fine, but I never have them floating unless that's the only option. They're always flush to the body, and then I have to put more pressure to move them. That way I can double stop without anything moving funny. I won't have a floating trem, but I like using a tremolo arm. All right, guys and ladies, hope you're doing well. Thanks again for hanging out. I appreciate it, and happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, all that kind of stuff, and Hanukkah and whatever else there is out there these days. There's this other weird one that never was like a part of a cult. What was it called? I can't remember what the other one was called. Was it like a cult thing? I can't remember. Anyway, it was hilarious. They've mentioned it in someone will write it in there. It was like a third one that didn't quite ever take off, but it wasn't really a religious thing. It was like some dude decided he wanted to make a holiday. So, damn, I'm gonna have to look that up now. Anyway, all right, guys, rock on. Have a great evening. Have a great day. Have a great night, and I will catch you soon. Oh yeah, before I go, I haven't done much of this lately, but I said yes to this because they look cool. I got some New X effects, the new ones. They've got like a whole bunch of really cool sort of analog effects, I should say. And yeah, these are all really straightforward. So I'm going to put a video together coming up. Look at this one. No, first one to guess that wins. No, it's obviously a Marshall in a box, right? So some of these look really cool. I like where their head's at there visually, and yeah, a lot of simple effects is what I'm favoring these days. I haven't done a lot of inexpensive stuff over the last, I guess, 12 months or more, but yeah, how about this one? We got a boogie one as well. So Yeah, these have been sitting here for ages. I got to get this done at some point. But anyway, thanks for hanging out. I got to hold the whole range of those. Maybe we'll do a live stream. I'll do a Tone King and do a live stream or something. All right. Well, rock on, everybody. Take care. We'll catch you on the next one. See ya. How do I stop this again? It's been a while. Oh, yeah, there we go. All right, take care, everybody.